Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, was able to join the select list Royal Rumble match winners. Hulk Hogan in the early 90s, I believe 1990 and 1991. Shawn Michaels in 1995 and 1996. Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1997 with a bit of an asterisk because we all know he got eliminated. But that's beyond the point. And 1998, of course. So with that said, it's very easy to fall in the trap and think that WWE is actually going to pull this off once again and have Cody Rhodes go after Roman Reigns. And this time, he does get the win. This time, he does defeat line because Saturday night at the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes last eliminated CM Punk, and I love the fact that those two were the men, that those two men were the ones to be the final two of this match, because that's what the fans ultimately wanted. I'm talking about the casual viewer. I know there's a lot of hardcore viewers out there that wanted Drew McIntyre to stick it out, that wanted Gunther to be in that running, to be in that race, of course. But overall, the casual fan, the fan in the stands, the fan in that stadium, that packed stadium in Tampa, Florida, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and they pretty much gave us a singles match between the two after that fiery promo on Monday Night Raw. Not as good. Definitely not as good as last year's singles match to end the Rumble between Cody Rhodes and Gunther. But this one, it had a little bit more tension because Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, like I said in the preview video, the prediction video of who might win the men's Royal Rumble match, they could have been interchangeable. Cody Rhodes could have won it. CM Punk could have won it. Nobody would have been mad. Nobody. And now, to emphasize the fact that Cody Rhodes needed to win the Royal Rumble match for one very, very simple reason. Since WrestleMania last year, he has not gotten one shot, one championship, world championship match since WrestleMania. So in my opinion, it was either win the Royal Rumble or win the Elimination Chamber match to go on to WrestleMania. Otherwise, he was not going to get a world title match at the Show of Shows. And it's a bigger statement. It makes him a bigger star to have him go back-to-back in the Royal Rumble than it is to have him lose and then play the desperate man, going into the chamber, winning the chamber, which, again, would it be a big deal? Yeah, but not as big as going back-to-back in the Royal Rumble match. Now we get that desperate man story from CM Punk. Punk wins the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. A big moment as well, because it's in Australia. And again, I've said it in the past, CM Punk did not need to win the Royal Rumble match. He is that big of a star. He is that big of a name. His name alone, his status alone warrants a world title bout at WrestleMania. It's just a matter of earning it, and he's going to do it at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. He has one big boulder, if I can call them that, to move out the way, and that is Mr. Drew McIntyre. Punk eliminated Drew McIntyre last Saturday night at the Royal Rumble, crushing his dreams. And to be honest, I would much rather prefer Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a straight-up singles match in Australia. I think that would be a bigger match. But if we need to get to the story of Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania, he needs to win the Elimination Chamber match to determine who challenges for the world title on the Monday Night Raw side of things. I love the fact that Jimmy and Jey Uso started the Royal Rumble match, planting the seeds for their brother love match at WrestleMania 40. You had to. These two men haven't encountered each other pretty much at all since the breakup after SummerSlam on SmackDown. And if it wasn't going to be at the Royal Rumble, during the Royal Rumble, then it just wasn't going to happen. And again, it had to be 1 versus 2, so they had that slight, small interaction that builds up momentum, that builds up the tension to get to that match at the show of shows. And again, it's going to happen. Jimmy versus Jey Uso at WrestleMania. They've been teasing it since last year's press conference, or not press conference, press tour of WrestleMania, because that's what they said. They've said that that's their dream. They want to have a brother versus brother match at WrestleMania, and it's going to happen. And again, the story is right there for the picking. So again, planting the seeds. Let's see what other steps are taken in order to get to that final outcome of Uso versus Uso. Braun Breaker had a tremendous showing. Went up against Gunther. A lot of people are considering the fact that Gunther versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania could be a possibility. I would not be opposed to it. But it's going to happen right after Elimination Chamber. I think Gunther's Elimination Chamber match, because he did call out Seth freaking Rollins. He did tell him he's going to challenge for the world title at WrestleMania. He has to try to get there somehow, some way. And Braun Breaker, again, he's going to lay low for now. He's working a tremendous program with Baron Corbin in developmental in NXT. And after the Chamber, then Breaker could come back and challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Although I would prefer it to be, I would prefer for them to go back to Chad Gable. His momentum has gone down since that run in, September or October of last year against Gunther. I would much rather it have been Chad Gable trying to face off against Gunther, but we'll just have to wait and see what goes on there. R-Truth, man. R-Truth is a national treasure. He came out for the Women's Rumble match, which was just something you'd expect from his character at this point. Number one, the way he picked his number, thinking that he had to go into quarantine for some reason. He keeps confusing Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis every single time he's out there. He got eliminated by Nia Jax from the Women's Rumble match, which he wasn't a part of because clearly he's not a woman. He's not Santina Marella. And then he comes back into the Men's Rumble match. And in pure Ron Killings R-Truth fashion, he thinks it's a tag team match. And Dominic Mysterio tags him in. And then he does a almost picture perfect rather, because he didn't really complete him. Again, it's Gunther. But he did a fantastic 5 moves of doom. He had the crowd behind him, the "you can't see me" chants. R-Truth, man, I cannot wait for his Hall of Fame speech, because I am honestly looking forward to what he confuses that about. I think he's going to be in character as well for his Hall of Fame induction speech in the very near future. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Finish R-Truth's story, man. Somehow, some way, he needs to get to WrestleMania. Finish his story. The people are behind him. The fans love him. It's that damn simple. It's that damn simple. I mean, it was a pretty good pay-per-view. Royal Rumble overall. 4 hours. Not too long, not too short. Roman Reigns ended up pinning AJ Styles. He retained the undisputed Universal Championship. I was kind of expecting L.A. Knight, to take the pin. Because, again, Reigns versus AJ, singles match hasn't happened. Reigns versus Randy Orton, singles match hasn't happened. Hell, there's still a possibility. There is still a very big possibility we might get Roman Reigns. Hopefully, I don't think he's scheduled for Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, but hopefully, I truly want this just one big roadblock. In Rhodes versus Reigns 2 at WrestleMania, the rematch. One big roadblock. Randy Orton challenging Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship in a stadium setting, Elimination Chamber, Perth, Australia, world title match down under. And maybe have the Viper pull off the quote-unquote upset and become a 15-time world champion. And challenge, or be challenged by the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, for that championship at WrestleMania, and Reigns can do his own thing against The Rock. That might still be a possibility. I still believe The Rock versus Reigns needs to be a WrestleMania match, and if it's not this year, then it has to be next year. But it cannot happen at SummerSlam. It cannot happen at the Elimination Chamber. It cannot happen at any throwaway pay-per-view, maybe like Backlash in France. No! WrestleMania. But I think WWE has showed their cards with Rhodes pointing and just attacking Reigns after he just won the Rumble. Saying that he's the one that he wants to challenge. That decision that the Royal Rumble match winner always makes, that's going to go straight into Bayley. That's going to be interesting. I talked about it on Monday. Saying that Bayley's going to string this along way too much. Again, she was completely confused during the Women's Rumble match because Asuka and Kairi Sane were out there. They didn't have a plan. Bayley was dumbfounded in the fact that they got eliminated so early. And then she goes on to win the whole entire thing. So again, she's not going to straight up challenge Io Sky for the women's title. They're going to push her to challenge mommy Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. And Bayley's going to look at Rhea Ripley and be like, nah, I'm good. And then she might take a trip to NXT and find out that Lyra Valkyria or Roxanne Perez, she too much to handle. So again, I believe Bayley's going to string this along, and we're going to talk about this more on Friday. But overall, Logan Paul retained his United States Championship in true Maverick fashion. He pulled one over Kevin Owens, KO. Again, KO was not going to win this match. He just wasn't. And I'm truly expecting LA Knight, to go on to WrestleMania and beat Logan Paul for the United States Championship in Philadelphia and finally give him something, some gold to go with his enormous fandom, with his over-the-top character, over-the-top persona. And he's just not going to stop. He's just not going to stop. So with that said, those are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Again, Cody Rhodes goes back-to-back Royal Rumble wins. I think that was the best decision possible. You just had to. It's the only way to get him to WrestleMania and actually make it make sense. Elimination Chamber, not as big of a deal as winning the Royal Rumble match. And Punk, well, he's going to go into desperate mode and win the Elimination Chamber match to challenge Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania. Those are my predictions. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens tonight on the USA Network for Monday Night Raw, because it's going to be a nail-biter in terms of Cody Rhodes has to confirm. Does he want Reigns or does he want a rematch with Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania? We'll have to wait and see. Leave your thoughts, comments, predictions. What did you think of the Royal Rumble match? Both matches of the pay-per-view itself, of the world title match, of the US title match. What do you think of the event itself? Leave them in the comment section below. With that said, my name is Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.